In Venezuela, the government moves forward with a plan to consolidate the growth of its mining industry, a sector considered key to economic recovery and the generation of new foreign currency for the country. In Chile, wildfires continue burning through the provinces of Biobio and Ñuble, leaving 20 dead and over 26,000 hectares of forest burned. In Spain, authorities said the death toll from the train accident that occurred on Sunday in Cordoba rose to 40. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Sophie Fernandez from the teleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. Stay with us. In Venezuela, the government moves forward with a plan to consolidate the growth of its mining industry, a sector considered key to economic recovery and the generation of new foreign currency for the country. Acting President Delcy Rodriguez led a work meeting with the mining and basic industry sector to evaluate strategies to increase the production of gold and other strategic minerals. Rodriguez emphasized that mining has become a fundamental element in the growth of gross domestic product, ranking as the second engine of the economy, after hydrocarbons. The official assured that the nation's mineral wealth is intended exclusively to guarantee the well-being of the Venezuelan people and to protect national sovereignty from external interests.
This year, through our own effort, we expect a 30% increase in gold production, and with that 30% resulting from our own efforts, we will also open the door, through the presentation we made to the Board of Directors of the National Assembly, to the approval of the Organic Law on Minerals, which will allow us to attract significant flows of international investment and for international investment to be accompanied by joint work with Venezuelan companies. This mine is being developed with national investment. We greet and congratulate the private sector.
Saludo y felicitamos este esfuerzo del sector privado para, junto al Estado venezolano,
for their effort to work jointly with the Venezuelan state to produce such an important and strategic mineral as gold, one of the most important commodities and raw materials at the international level, which gains more value every day.
Delcy Rodriguez also referred to the strategic plan for the mining sector, whose production growth is expected to lead the economic recovery of Venezuela.
A joint effort so that Venezuela can achieve its economic recovery and stability. We were working on this plan since last year with President Maduro.
Sabe, Héctor, lo estuvimos trabajando con el presidente Maduro el año pasado. Un plan oro para incremento de la producción del oro.
A key plan to increase the production of gold, of iron, of bauxite, of all strategic minerals Venezuela needs for its industrial development and for our country's foreign exchange earnings.
Y también para la generación de divisas.
On Monday, Venezuela's acting President Delcy Rodriguez also announced new government appointments via her Telegram channel. The acting President of Venezuela on Telegram account said, Calixto Ortega takes over as President of the International Center for Productive Investment. This appointment will enable the continued attraction of domestic and international investment for the national productive system during this stage of economic recovery. In addition, acting President Delcy Rodriguez shared that I have appointed Dr. Noramí Josefa Gutiérrez González as the new Minister of Popular Power for Health. This Venezuelan professional has dedicated her life to this sector and will further develop healthcare and protection policies aimed at the people. I would also like to express my gratitude to Dr. Magali Gutiérrez Viñas, who will continue as President of the Venezuelan Institute of Social Security. In other news from Venezuela, a flight arrived with 235 Venezuelan migrants from the United States on board of the flight number 100 of the Great Mission returned to the homeland. The Ministry of Interior, Justice and Peace reported that the group of compatriots consisted of 219 men and 16 women, who received comprehensive care from officials of the Citizen's Security Agency. With this operation, the Return to the Homeland Plan, promoted by the national government, reaches its 100th flight since its creation in 2018. A humanitarian program aimed at facilitating the return of Venezuelans abroad, who are often victims of xenophobia as a result of the criminalization campaign imposed by the United States government, in complicity with the Venezuelan extreme right. Meanwhile, in Mexico, citizens gather in front of the U.S. Embassy to express their solidarity with Venezuela and reject the United States interventionist policies in the region. The protesters demanded an end to hostilities against the South American nation and called for the release of President Nicolás Maduro and First Lady Cilia Flores. As part of their agenda, the collectives announced that they will boycott the World Cup, which they describe as a protest against what they consider to be interference by Washington. The formal constitution of the Board Anti-Imperialist Front is expected to be completed on February 14th, with the objective of consolidating a permanent platform for mobilization throughout the country. In other news, in Honduras, the transition to a de facto government led by the National Party is moving forward, amid questions following an election deemed illegal at all three levels. President Xiomara Castro ordered the transition to the de facto government of Nasser Yasfura, the president endorsed by the United States, while various sectors have questioned the government's cabinet lack of knowledge. The Liberty and Refundation Party and the Honduran people have denounced the appointment as a coup perpetrated by the two-party system in Honduras, with the U.S. interference. In this context, the country prepares for the political transition to an administration that is already rejected by the vast majority for disregarding the will of the people. The Panama Jazz Festival came to a close with a series of events showcasing the country's musical and cultural excellence. The event offered a varied program that included auditions, master classes, and a free outdoor closing concert, which brought together international jazz figures and local artists in a space dedicated to art and education. Throughout the event, Juliette Roy and the Folk Lab Assembly captivated the audience with their performances, while the tribute to Wayne Shorter offered an emotional celebration of the iconic musician's legacy, reaffirming the role of jazz as a universal language that connects and transcends generations. And now we have a short break coming up. But first, remember you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English, where you will find news in different formats, news updates, and more. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back From the South. And wildfires continue burning through the center-south region of Chile, with 20 people dead and over 7,000 affected, leaving over 26,000 hectares of forest burned in the provinces of Biobio and Ñuble. Most of the victims are concentrated in the Biobio region, particularly in Penco and Lirquén, where the destruction of homes and businesses has left a profound social impact. According to the Secretary of State, there are 573 people sheltered in 19 refuges so far, although the number varies. Furthermore, emergency services are still combating 31 active fires, but stated that the mobilization of resources, such as 75 aircrafts, is complicated by the simultaneity of outbreaks in several regions. Meanwhile, containment and damage assessment efforts advance. In happier news, as part of a conservation project, thousands of baby turtles were released into an Amazon river in Bolivia. The governor of Beni department joined activists and volunteers in Puerto Almacén to release 30,000 hatchlings into the Iber River. The yellow-spotted river turtle, or Podosnemis omniphilis, is listed as vulnerable to extinction by the International Union for Conservation of Nature. Habitat destruction, pollution, and poaching are the main reasons for their declining numbers. The release was part of the Keloino project, which aims to protect the turtles as a vital part of the Amazon ecosystem. Due to recent rain, snow, and cold temperatures, drivers in Durham, North Carolina, the United States, and the surrounding area experienced slick roads. Footage filmed on Sunday showed crashed vehicles in Durham and Wake counties, as well as cars sliding on slippery roads. Temperatures were forecast to plummet to -6 degrees Celsius across central North Carolina and the Sand Hills. Despite the unseasonable cold air, North Carolinians won't experience record-breaking temperatures, with the coldest record highs in the mid-20s and lows in the single digits. And on Monday, more than 100 vehicles crashed into each other or slid off the interstate in Michigan as a snowstorm fueled by the Great Lakes blanketed the state. A massive pileup of Interstate 196 just southwest of Grand Rapids prompted the Michigan State Police to close both directions Monday morning. Officials were working to remove all the vehicles, including more than 30 semi-trailers. According to the state police, there were numerous injuries, but no deaths had been reported. The crash is the latest impact of the major winter storm. The National Weather Service warned of extremely cold temperatures and winter storms across northern Minnesota and southern Wisconsin, Indiana, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and New York. In other news from the United States, on the eve of Donald Trump's first year in office, nearly 60% of citizens rate his second term as a failure. A recent poll reveals that President Trump's return to the White House indicates that he is focusing on the wrong priorities and deviating from the goal of improving the cost of living in the country. In addition, the report notes that more than 55% said Trump's policies have made the nation's economic situation worse. U.S. people, like some Republican Party leaders, claim the head of state is not doing enough to try to reduce the price of everyday consumer goods. And United States President Donald Trump stated that by not being awarded the 2025 Nobel Peace Prize, he does not feel obligated to prioritize peace, a fact that threatens international diplomacy. The U.S. President directly links this event to an offensive to gain total control of Greenland, escalating tensions with Europe. In a letter sent to the Prime Minister of Norway, Trump questions Denmark's sovereignty over the Arctic island and demands that NATO facilitate its annexation in return of Washington's leadership in the alliance. In response, 8 nations issued a joint statement denouncing the threats, while the European Union is considering trade retaliation worth $108 billion. For its part, the Norwegian government made it clear that the Nobel Committee is independent and will not give in to foreign pressure. And now we move to Australia, where the police are investigating the death of a Canadian woman on a Queensland tourist island after her body was found near Dingoes. On Monday, 2 men found the body of a 19-year-old woman while driving along the beach near the SS Manheno shipwreck at Guwari, according to Queensland Police Inspector Paul Algie. Algie said he would not speculate on the cause of death, but noted that the remains showed signs of having been disturbed by dingoes. Algie added that the woman had been working at a backpacker hostel at the island and was believed to have gone for an early morning swim near the shipwreck. Algi said the police had contacted the Royal Canadian Mounted Police and were attempting to contact the woman's family in Canada. On Monday, the 2026 annual meeting of the World Economic Forum began in Davos, Switzerland, calling for constructive dialogue in the face of a complex global landscape. The five-day event has drawn nearly 3,000 leaders and experts worldwide to discuss 5 pressing global challenges. A series of publications released by the World Economic Forum in the lead-up to the meeting indicated rising risks and downward pressure on the global economy. The report summarizes the emerging contours of the current economic environment. This quarterly report incorporates the latest policy research and the result of a survey of leading chief economists from the public and private sectors. We have a second short break coming up. Before, we invite you to visit our Facebook page at teleSUR English. There, you'll be able to watch our top stories, special live coverage, and much more. Follow our page and activate the notification button to stay up to date on the world's most recent events. Final short break, but we'll be right back with more from the South. Don't go away. Welcome back. In Spain, authorities said the death toll from the train accident that occurred on Sunday in Cordoba rose to 40. In Ademuz, 2 high-speed trains derailed at around 7:39 p.m. local time on Sunday. National authorities described the accident as a very rare incident. Meanwhile, authorities added that 152 people were injured, of whom 43 have been hospitalized, 12 in the ICU and 9 in serious conditions. In this context, the Minister of Sustainable Mobility, Oscar Puente, said that the death toll is not final. Likewise, Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez canceled his participation in the Davos Forum in Switzerland because he decided to travel to the scene of the tragedy.
Creo que es un día de dolor para toda España.
I believe that this is a day of grief for all of Spain, for our entire country, and our thoughts, if they are directed at anyone,
Familiares a los cuales
are for the victims and their families, to whom we would like to send our condolences, our thoughts, our solidarity,
y todo
and the warmest embrace of Spanish society at this time, which is difficult to describe or define in words.
o definición con palabras que vamos a dar con la verdad.
We will find the truth, we will learn the answer, and when that answer is
Esa
known,
respuesta del origen de la causa de esta
the
tragedia,
origin of the cause of this tragedy, as it cannot be otherwise,
esta transparencia y absoluta claridad, lo pondremos
with absolute transparency and absolute clarity, we will make it known to the public through the media.
a través de los medios de comunicación.
In other news, we move to Pakistan, where on Monday officials confirmed that at least 24 people had died in a massive fire at a shopping mall in Karachi, the capital of Pakistan's southern Sindh province. An urban search and rescue operation continued at Gul Plaza, where a building was badly damaged by a blaze, which erupted late Saturday at Gul Plaza, at a shopping mall with more than 1,200 shops on Maginai Road, was brought under control after 24 hours. More casualties are feared. Sindh Chief Minister Syed Mura Ali Shahad said that about 60 people who had visited the plaza were still missing. The bodies were charred beyond recognitions. The cause of the fire is under investigation. Police previously said it was suspected to have been triggered by an electrical short circuit. In other news, tensions rise in northeast Syria as Kurdish forces and the army of the de facto government accuse each other of breaking the recent ceasefire agreement after new fighting breaks out. Violent clashes between the self-proclaimed Syrian Democratic Forces and the army of the country's de facto government, controlled by the terrorist group FTS, have left at least 3 soldiers dead and several wounded in the province of Al-Raqqa. Both sides accuse each other for violating the ceasefire agreement reached on Sunday, which sought to integrate Kurdish militias into the Syrian state. The fighting is taking place near the Al-Aqtani prison, which houses combatants from the Islamic State terrorist group, threatening to destabilize security throughout the region. Meanwhile, armed groups storm a prison in Syria that houses the thousands of Islamic State terrorist group fighters. The Kurdish forces guarding it lost control of the premises. The self-proclaimed Syrian Democratic Forces lost control of the Al-Shaddadi prison in the northeast of the country after an assault by unidentified armed groups. The complex housed thousands of fighters from the terrorist group Daesh, causing a maximum security alert in the region. Kurdish militias reported that a nearby international coalition base did not intervene, despite requests for help. For its part, the de facto Syrian government warned Kurdish forces not to exploit the situation for political gain. The Israeli military launched a large-scale operation in Hebron, paralyzing the city's southern districts with the deployment of hundreds of soldiers and heavy machinery. On Monday, the Israeli army and the Internal Security Service Shin Bet confirmed the offensive, stating that the aim is to disrupt alleged terrorist infrastructure and confiscate weapons in the Hevel Hohar area. As a result, the southern Hebron region has been under curfew since dawn. For the port, occupation forces are carrying out intensive deployment, including bulldozers and truck-armed vehicles. Israeli forces have intensified their repression of media workers, which reflects a pattern of censorship of those seeking to divulge the crimes of the Zionist regime. The Palestinian Detainees Media Office says 40 Palestinian journalists are in Israeli prisons in the occupied territories. For their part, the Palestinian Journalists Syndicate documented 99 violations by Israeli forces against Palestinian journalists in December 2025, including killings, physical assaults, abductions, and restrictions of media coverage. While in the occupied West Bank, the syndicate recorded 48 cases of abduction and obstruction of media coverage, as well as 15 assaults involving tear gas and stun grenades while journalists were working. And like this, we have come to the end of this news brief. You can find this and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net and join us on social media. We're on Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For Telesur English, I'm Sofia Fernandez. Thank you for watching.